a typical Nigerian, despite the fact that a typical Nigerian is somehow criminal in nature as well, but they desire a leader that will take them to that desired destination.
Are Nigerians ready to accommodate the Igbos? As in, can they say, okay, let's use 2027 to encourage the Igbos so that they will not escape Nigeria?
Is Tinubu and Aso Rock about to crash? People have been waiting. We are still waiting. The dust hasn't even settled on Bola Tinubu's humiliating defeat by Davido on the uncle, Inoshu. And now a massive legal earthquake just hit Aso Rock directly from Washington, D.C. just a few hours ago.
All right, if you know me very well, I don't constantly talk about politics, but once I do drop things about politics, and I will tell you that we are all in Nigeria and we all are expected to cast our vote. So you cannot remove politics from the normal way of life. And 2027 is very important year in the life history of Nigeria. Based on some things, don't they flog people up and down. Money no their pocket. So the question now is that, are Nigerians ready for true change of government? And aside that one being ready to make true change, are Nigerians ready to accommodate the Igbos? As in, can they say, okay, let's use 2027 to encourage the Igbos so that they will not escape Nigeria, since the Igbos are trying to escape, that they are almost at the gate now. They stand for gate, waiting for the gate to open so that they can escape. So can Nigerians be, sensible enough to say, no, Igbos, we want you to stay. Come and pilot this government. Let's see how it will be. So these two, major points are what we are going to discuss today about Nigeria. So, but before we go into that, I want you to hear this viewpoint of SK before we proceed.
Now, this is going to be one of my most controversial videos in the history of all the videos I've made. And that is why I'm begging you to give me time to listen to me to the end. And what is it I want to talk about this evening? That is why I'm sitting on the floor. What do I want to talk about? I want to talk about the upcoming election, the presidential candidates, the aspirants, and what they stand for. So let's start gradually. Please give me your time and listen to me so that you understand me. In the spirit of fairness, truth. Seriously, I don't know how to hide my feelings, my truth to everybody, so that you will know me and actually understand what I stand for. So in regards to the upcoming election and the aspirants, so far this is what I want to talk about. I want to talk about Tinubu, Peter Obi, Atiku and Sowore. And I hope that, sincerely speaking, listen to me very well, and I'm open to criticism in all aspects. Anywhere you feel I'm wrong or whatever, objectively and factually, and let's forge ahead, okay? So firstly, to start with the incumbent, which is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, what is my take? Am I actually of the opinion that the present administration has performed optimally to the desired expectation of a common Nigerian? My basic answer in that regard is absolutely no. He has not performed optimally. But is he the worst? Sincerely speaking, he is not the worst, right? He hasn't performed optimally according to our desire. And in regards, our desire now is the fact that we want to have a society that have a total and absolute respect for the rule of law, due process. In this regards, the present administration have not lived up to those expectations. And secondly, a typical Nigerian, despite the fact that a typical Nigerian is somehow criminal in nature as well, but they desire a leader that will take them to that desired destination, which is like the envy, the kind of a developed society. But lest we forget to tell ourselves the truth that a desired nation is not being piloted by only a leader, but the citizens as well. And in regards the quality of citizens we have in Nigeria, sincerely speaking, your guess is as good as mine. There is so much work to be done. But is it a deliberate thing? It's not a deliberate thing. It's equally the creation of the politicians that have succeeded in making individuals turning out to be what they are at the moment. Because there's this conversation in regards your leadership start from the bottom to the top or from the top to the bottom. That is an endless conversation that can never be won. But as long as I'm concerned, as far as I'm concerned, it's a two-way thing. It have to be from both angles, right? So in that regards, he hasn't performed optimally in regards the desires of a Nigeria, a typical Nigerian. But is he the worst? He is absolutely not the worst, right? But the question now is, does he deserve a second tenure? Well, that is a hard question I have to answer. But I'm going to answer it in this way. In the spirit of past leaders and their antecedents, yes, he deserves a second tenure. But in the spirit of where Nigerians hope to see themselves, a reasonable Nigerian, he doesn't deserve a second tenure in any way, because those daring moves that is expected of a leader is deficient in his regime. He has not made any daring move. All the moves are all about politicking, economic policies or whatever. Economic policies are endless discussions that nobody can ever win. Somebody say he came and invested 10 naira and he got 15 naira. One person say he came and invested 10 naira and he got 16 naira. That is exactly what we're discussing. So in regards that, sincerely speaking, but the last time I checked, that is not what, despite the fact that a typical Nigerian is corrupt in nature, selfish in nature, but that is not the desire. But another thing that would have addressed this is when you have a selfless leader that will show people the way, that this is the way to go. So in that regard, it's deficient. Let's talk about Atiku. Are we going to talk about Atiku? Well, Atiku, Obasanjo has already painted his result to us, right? Whether it's true or not, but the fact is that his Oga has already painted him. And in regards him making daring moves and bold steps as well, that is deficient, right? I don't want to waste time talking much about Atiku, because everybody knows that to some certain extent. Even a typical Nigerian knows that that is not the way to go. But let's talk about Peter Obi. What is the situation with Peter Obi? Well, sincerely speaking, if we must tell ourselves, going by antecedents of Peter Obi in Anambra, he performed better. Just like other people that we tend to consider as performing better in making reference to their past people, their, what do they call this English? People they inherited governance from. So he actually performed better. But has there been any daring move or any daring statement? There hasn't been any in regards him, right? And that is why on my own part, he's not bankable. But on the spirit of the fact that Igbos have been marginalized, take it or leave it, whether you argue it or not, the fact is Igbos have been marginalized in Nigeria and they deserve a try. So in the spirit of that, he deserves an opportunity, right? So he deserves that. That is on that part. So now let's come to my mentor, my Oga, Omoyele Sowore. Omoyele Sowore, sincerely speaking, we're not going by antecedents. There's nothing to tell in regards political antecedents. But in regards humanity antecedents and advocate for good system or democracy, we can absolutely give it to him. That this is a man that has fought for the liberation and even for the justice of a common man, right? But politicking is a different game entirely. And if my Oga is hearing me, I will tell him this. Sincerely speaking, there's a classical difference between being an activist and advocate of social change and a politician. And the difference is classically simple, which is the fact that on the basis of humanity and an activist, 100% as far as Nigeria is concerned. But in regards politics, there is deficiency. Though the fact is, what I find as a problem is, we have had this discussion. You can't marry the two together. You can't marry activism with politicking. And that is where the problem lies. But you know what? Sincerely speaking, I equally believe that Omoyele Sowore deserves a try. Because going by his advocate for humanity, we can actually say that this is somebody that have humanity at heart.
All right, if you have been following me on this channel or if you have been watching my video, you will see that I always point out something that is vital. This guy just said about the followers. I've always said that we, the masses, cannot exempt ourselves from what is happening to us because these politicians come from the masses. It's from the masses that produces these politicians. So how do they get their behavior from, if not what the masses prompted them to do? If they bring money, you collect 10,000, 20,000 for you to vote. You are also encouraging them. So far so good. If Peter Obi, for me, has not been found with any case. So far, I've not heard any case against Peter Obi. So if Peter Obi has not been found with any case and he is coming out from the masses, begging you to be, as in wanting to be Nigerian leader, I think is an exceptional case. Because sometimes I also say that Nigerians don't deserve Peter Obi. Because Peter Obi is an exceptional person. He will tell you, go and verify. Has any case made against him? Any serious case? Let me just put it like that. There is no serious case made against him. But I know many of the aspirants that he talked about, Atiku, even the present government leader, Tinubu, all of them has cases, both international and local. In fact, there is one that just came up recently, that I will still highlight it. You see, so if even in the midst of these things now we are talking about, we all know among them who will be or who is likely to be the best candidate. But still, the masses can be coerced Why would you be coerced to do another thing? Just imagine the kind of people that we have in this country. You know, most times we point hands at the politicians, but this politician is bad. They are not doing anything. I've said it countless number of times. If you bring juju, if they swear you are juju, they no go die. Yes, because already you have been committed. That 1,000, 2,000 they gave you, you have committed yourself. You have sold your right like Esau over a porridge of yam. Well, there is this current case about the president. So let's hear Aqua. Aqua has something he wants to tell us. What are we hiding? What are we hiding? It's even better that you come out and say, yes, this is true. If you really have good intention. To me, if you really have good intention, you accept whatever thing that has happened in the past. Yes, I did it. It has happened. Your character, your present character will show what you are made of presently. But as you are pressing to hide this thing, it means that you don't even have good intention presently. So let's hear Aqua, what he has to say.
Is Tinubu and Sowore about to crash? People have been waiting. We are still waiting. The dust hasn't even settled on Bola Tinubu's humiliating defeat by Davido and the uncle, Inoshu. And now, a massive legal earthquake just hit Sowore directly from Washington, D.C. just a few hours ago. Is Tinubu and Sowore about to crash? People have been waiting. We are still waiting. The dust hasn't even settled on Bola Tinubu's humiliating defeat by Davido and the uncle, Inoshu. And now, a massive legal earthquake just hit Sowore directly from Washington, D.C. just a few hours ago. Look at your screens right now. Just look at the screens. U.S. District Judge Beryl Howell today just imposed a strict 4-day deadline in the court battle over the release of FBI and Drug Enforcement Agency records relating to historical drug trafficking and money laundering allegations involving Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The U.S. Justice Department today, a day after the Davido problem, asked for a 10-day extension, and Tinubu, through his American lawyers, formally joined that request. They wanted to give us an extension. How many extensions do you need? Judge Tower refused to give them the full 10 days. She gave them only 4, setting August 21st, 4 days from today, as the new deadline where we might see something, my brothers. August 21st. Forget the political spin. What exactly is inside those FBI and DAA records that Tinubu doesn't want us to see? I bet you, Tinubu, that's my opinion, he may not be able to sleep at night over this. What could eventually, ladies and gentlemen, become public? And if seriously damaging information emerges, eventually, what happens to Bola Tinubu and his 2027 presidential ambitions? That is the question. My view. I feel that Nigerians will soundly reject him if this happens. They will soundly reject him if bad stuff eventually emerges from this matter after August 21st. Lead up to 2027, the election wants to go for issue 1, the receipts and the 4-day ultimatum. Let's check the exact legal receipts so nobody will mislead you. As you know, I'm usually very, very accurate. For 3 years, this Freedom of Information lawsuit has dragged through the American court system. Under the previous U.S. Biden administration, federal agencies stonewalled and blocked the release of these records. This Biden said, Biden nobody like Nigeria. He had no love for Nigerian suffering. It was all about him. Now look at the sudden shift. Under President Donald Trump Justice Department, U.S. Attorney Janine Pirro requested 10 days to respond. And look at the receipt. Look at it on the screen. Tinubu himself, through his American lawyers, formally joined that request for more time. Give us more time. There it is on your screen. Ladies and gentlemen, Intervenor Bola Tinubu on the screen. Why? But Judge Howard said no. She granted them, as I said, just 4 days, setting August 21st as the firm deadline. Now, let me clarify the legal reality so we stay completely grounded. This is a Freedom of Information Act disclosure proceeding. It's not an arrest warrant. It is not a criminal indictment. So why is Tinubu hiding then? Make no mistake. Further disclosure of FBI and Drug Enforcement Administration records concerning these allegations against him could represent an enormous political threat to a sitting Nigerian president. Issue 2. Why now? The Osun connection. This is my own take. Let's ask the crucial questions that every analytical and curious mind is pondering right now in Nigeria, 230 million people. Question number 1. Why is this issue exploding right after Tinubu's massive loss in Osun? This legal issue. Suddenly, the loss was yesterday. Look at the thing now. A loss in which Davido today said on Twitter that Tinubu and APC spent gazillions. I don't even know. It's 100 and something. I don't remember how much he said. But they failed to manipulate the election. The moment Asorok blinked in Osun, the illusion of invincibility shattered. Tinubu was not seen as a tough guy anymore. That momentum has shifted. And the legal valves are opening as wide as River Niger. The dogs of justice are now backing, ladies and gentlemen. The dogs are backing. Whoa, 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 whoa. Who let the dogs out? Whoa, 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 whoa. Who let the dogs out? They're backing. Issue 3. The eve of 2027 and the Washington calculus. Why now? Why did these things come out now? Why, as Nigerians are moving toward 2027 very anxiously, some people don't even know what will happen. Some don't know whether there'll be elections. And here is the question nobody in Aso Rock once asked. Does Donald Trump want Tinubu gone? I don't know the answer. But after Osun, and now this, I am asking, in my assessment and strong feelings, Washington may well be sending, a crystal clear signal to Aso Rock. They won't come out and say, me, I'm telling you what I suspect. I think they're saying to Tinubu, Mr. President, look at here, look here. Your plenty domestic political wahala. Your economic failures are bad for those Nigerians. Some of them are trying to run away to the US, creating immigration problems here. Could Washington have concluded that Tinubu is no longer the indispensable political asset Aso Rock imagines him to be? It was supposed to be Jagaban, Ashiwaju. That is one possibility. I'm watching closely like a hawk. I'm watching like a hawk. Issue 4. So what happens if those files I'm talking about are open? See, I've repeated them. What happens if after this briefing process, Judge Howard issues further disclosure of important FBI and Drug Enforcement Administration records? If there is further disclosure of FBI and DEA records concerning these historical allegations, Tinubu 2020, he can kiss it goodbye. His 2027 ambitions could be destroyed before even the campaign officially begins. Imagine. Many Nigerians would dance in the streets. I promise you that. Aso Rock will then face a legitimacy crisis like nothing in Nigerian history has ever seen. How do you preach anti-corruption? How do you demand economic sacrifices from suffering citizens when your own past is laid bare in black and white by foreign law enforcement? If that happens, you cannot spin an official FBI dossier with a bio or nano-gas press release. State House press release. State House press release. Go on channels. What a bunch of, basically, political clowns. The international diplomatic cover will be gone. It will be gone. Sending Rebadu to be running to Washington DC almost every weekend will be gone. Sending Remi Tinubu to come and to go and tell religious people that there's no problem will be gone. August 21 is now the next critical case, critical date in this case. And after the briefing process runs its course, Judge Howell will ultimately decide what happens next. So tonight, I'm watching two places. If you're asking me, what do you think? I'm watching Abuja. I'm watching Washington, D.C. What would the United States government tell Judge Howell? What will Tinubu's lawyers argue? It's like trying to hide. Why can't Nigerians see everything now about him? And ultimately, what will the American people and Nigerians be allowed to see? You know what my conclusion is? The lesson of Oshun was the preamble. The Washington is the main event. Tinubu's political machine is shaking. And the truth is forcing its way out. That is my perspective. What is yours? Drop your thoughts as usual. This last podcast we had lots of thoughts, and I engaged in that with you. Drop them in the comment below. Hit the subscribe button. Turn on your notification. This is the Ofion Okwa Show. Ladies and gentlemen, we just don't report events. We track where they lead. I remain the voice of the voiceless, your independent voice telling fearless truths. I am Ofion Akwa. Be good to yourselves and to each other.
All right, viewers, I thank you for coming along with me. Well, I don't want to go into other personally, apart from the one I showed you, other aspirants. Because if you look at it, basically, if you are a human being that has good sense of judgment, you would have known that it is the turn of the Southeast. Well, I don't know. People have their own opinions, but that is my personal opinion. Atiku is out of place. Somebody from the north just finished tenure, which is Buhari, and Tinubu just did first tenure. So, even though these people these days, they don't care, though I know that there are political, unwritten arrangements that long exist between the north and the south. Well, if you have anything you want to tell us, go ahead and tell us. If you don't have, there's no issues. But until I come your way next time, I say bye for now.